we got ourselves a big story here. One of the things that I'm very concerned about is the economic policy that Donald Trump is doing. It is, it's not good, folks. Not good at all. And it's so not good that we have countries abroad that are joining forces against the threat of our economic tariffs. And they're not standing on ceremony. China, Japan, and South Korea have all pulled together and said, we are going to stand in solidarity with each other against the United States tariffs. And you got to understand this. During World War II, Japan did some dastardly shit to China. There is a lot of bad blood between those two countries, a lot of bad blood. And they managed to put aside those differences because they see the threat that our economic tariff policy is going to have on them. And then you add on top of that, today, the European Commission is considering not taking any more American products into their countries. And the EU is the EU. I mean, it's Spain, it's France, it's Germany, it's Switzerland, it's all of those countries. All of those potential buyers of American products are like, I don't think we're going to do this anymore because I don't think the America can be trusted. This is very troubling. You need to understand that right now, the world currency is the dollar. That is the current currency for the whole planet. It's one of the reasons why we have such power. After World War II, we were one of the few countries that was involved in World War II, although on the back end, I'd say between Russia and England, they probably had the most skin in the game. We joined at the very end of it. We lost a lot of soldiers, but we didn't lose anywhere near the soldiers that the UK and Russia did during that time. One of the best things that America did after World War II was to help those countries rebuild. It put us in this very elevated position. It made us that shining city on a hill. We came in as the cavalry. We helped Russia defeat Germany. Well, Russia did most of the work, but we came in at the end, and we dropped the bomb on Japan, and we defeated that side of the axis of evil. And then after the war, during the Geneva Convention, one of the things we did was help use our dollars to help build those countries back. And it won us a lot of goodwill. And ever since then, between that, the petrodollar, and our American dollar being the world currency, it has left us in this really elevated spot in the world. The one superpower that's left is us. Well, not so much anymore. And we're seeing a lot of countries turning their backs on us. And it's not like they're turning their backs on us for no reason. We are actively going after allies. I mean, we're talking about redrawing the border with Canada, to take more of their land and their water rights. We're talking about shooting missiles into Mexico as an extension on the war on terror. The war on drugs. My apologies. The extension of the war on drugs. Although, every other country, it's all about the war on terror. I mean, in fact, we're using that for a number of things. We're threatening Iran, and we're going to use the war on terror. The bombings that we did recently in Yemen that got Pete Hegseth in so much trouble, that's under the war on terror. The war on terror from 2002. Yeah, man, it's just a way for the president to get around Congress. We have not had a declaration of war in this country for over 20 years. And we have been resting on those laurels of the war on terror. So we not only are we at war with our most immediate allies, Canada and Mexico, but we're also going after Greenland. We're also going after, Panama. We're threatening Iran. We're threatening tariffs on everybody. A 25% tariff across the board, a regressive tax. I've gone over it before. The rich people will be able to weather the storm. The rest of us are going to have to suck it up and pay more for all of our products. And this big, beautiful day of tariffs, by the way, was supposed to go into effect at midnight on April 1st. And he decided to wait until 4 p.m. after the stock market closed so we wouldn't see a big old stock market crash. Dude, you're not going to stop that, man. It's going to happen. We're talking about between the war on this war on tariffs, which, by the way, and this other, and we're at war with immigrants in our country. Honey, the only thing that we're at war with is our democracy is at war with Donald Trump's fucking psychosis. That's the war that we're fighting here. Our democracy versus his crazy. But economically and militarily and the war within, this is a recipe for not just a recession and not just a great recession, but we're talking like Hoovervilles. During the Great Depression, people were living in shanties in Central Park, and they called them Hoovervilles. There were people living on the streets in the Bowery, hundreds and thousands of people on the street, poor as the day is long. In America, over the last 40, 50 years, we've seen the price of our housing go up. We've seen the price of our health care go up. We've seen the price of our education go up. But the one thing that America had was cheap products. You at least buy some cheap ass shit from China. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Targeted tariffs, not a bad idea. Would I like to see industry in this country? Yes, I would. I'd like to see more industry in this country. I'd also like to see a lot of union representation of that industry. But the way Donald Trump is talking is like he thinks magically tariffs, because it's the only thing that he can do directly without having to deal with Congress. But he thinks magically, all of these foreign companies are going to move to the United States, and also all of the American companies that have moved outside of the nation will move back into the nation and start building here. But it doesn't get done in a day. He's talking about a 10-year, easy 10-year project. And not to mention, our infrastructure was built back during the Great Depression. We haven't had an update in like 90 years. And to have the infrastructure to be able to support the industry that he wants in this country, not only would we have to rebuild our infrastructure, which would take 5, 7, 10 years to do. We'd need lots of copper and cobalt to make that happen, because we need to improve our electric grid. By the way, where did we get the majority of that stuff? Canada, Mexico. We would need to have training programs for Americans to be able to operate this new infrastructure. We would have, solar, wind, we would have to throw everything in the book at this just to get our infrastructure up to a level to be able to handle the industry that he wants to come here. But that's kind of a moot point, because they're not going to come here. If the EU is talking about not taking any products from America, and they have factories here, those factories are going to either get cut down to size, people are going to get laid off, maybe they just shut them down entirely. having a tariff war planet-wide, they're all going to turn on you. I mean, why make a deal with a country that you don't know within one presidential term to the next presidential term how crazy the leader's going to be? How easy is he going to be to work with? Does he keep his word? Does he keep his promises? Does he make deals and then stick to the deal? I mean, what he's railing against Mexico and Canada is the trade agreement that he did in his last term. And he's mad at that one. It's like, dude, that was your deal. I make the greatest deals, but that one I didn't do a very good job. No. The man is delusional, and he thinks that this act of doing mass tariffs is going to correct the problems that we're having in our economy. Donald Trump is making more damage than I think he has any idea that he's doing. I don't know who is in his ear, but whoever he's talking to, they're not saying the right things. And honestly, I think that he's just a stubborn old bastard, and he just wants what he wants. And I'm afraid he might get it. And that doesn't bode well for America. It really doesn't. And I do not want to see Trumpvilles in Central Park. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. And if you did, please like and subscribe. Yet again, it doesn't cost you anything, but it means the world to me, and I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your day. You take care.